39,144,181. That is the current population of California as of the 2015 United States Census Bureau. That means that the two senators represent almost 20 million people, and each representative in the House of Representatives stands for over 900,000 people. In a side-by-side comparison of the Senate districts map and the proposed 21 county map for the state of Jefferson, both accessed from their websites in April of 2016, Northern California only has 3 representatives designated for it, whereas the Los Angeles region alone has 14, and the San Francisco area has 9. That means these mere 14 counties have almost 8 times as many representatives than the 21 counties above Sacramento. Tonight, I'll be discussing with you why California should be divided into multiple states. Specifically, I'll be going over why politically California's large demographic makes for unequal policy changes, and I'll be driving us through 2 proposals that have been made for splitting California. First, let's take a drive over to Sacramento, where we can see where two policies that have been proposed or enacted via the urban population's large voting number. Here, the rural votes don't count, and the urban population doesn't care what might affect their rural neighbors. Let's start with the fire prevention bill. The fire prevention bill was passed July 7th, 2011, and according to the CAL FIRE website, last updated in 2013, this bill entails that a fee of $152.33 will be collected annually per habitable building on a person's private property if they were within the SRA region. The fire prevention methods they are referring to include, among other things, an inspector coming onto the landowner's private property to inspect defensible space, and then designating to the landowner what areas must be cleared, and telling them what time they have to clear it. And if they are unable to clear the area within a specific amount of time, a fine is levied against the landowner. Second, we'll go over the increase in the gas tax or adding a mileage tax. Urban drivers don't have to drive as far for necessities as those living in the very rural areas of Northern California. According to the Tax Foundation website, in an article written by Keating in March of 2016, the gas tax is said to go towards road construction, maintenance, repair, and improvements. Now, does these taxes stay within the counties that each driver lives in? No, it goes into a pot and is distributed from there. So rural drivers continue to pay for bridges in the Bay Area and freeway expansions in Hollywood, while their roads continue to fall apart. This mileage tax has been proposed because more Southern Californians are driving hybrid or fuel-efficient cars, so California is making less money on those drivers. This begs the question, why should those in Northern California be punished for the fact that those living in Southern California drive these hybrid or fuel-efficient cars? Now that we've traveled down California's 800 miles, let's take a look at 2 initiatives that have been proposed for splitting California. First, the state of Jefferson. The purpose of, according to the State of Jefferson website, last accessed in April of 2016, the purpose of this state would be for the 21 most northern counties in California to be free of, quote, overregulation, overtaxation, underrepresentation. Now, this would also be so that the income made by our state could be kept within its borders. And it would be so that the, quote, federal government could keep from overreaching. In an interview with Mark Baird, a reserve sheriff's deputy, and major supporter of the state of Jefferson, uploaded November 2nd, 2014, he states that the state of Jefferson would be a liberty-minded state, where the residents would have a say in education, not just the rich voting from their perspective. It would consist of a smaller government consisting of a part-time legislator, where they would go and work for a couple of months out of the year in Washington and then return home to their lives and their normal jobs. Next is the it's not next. The state of Jefferson includes vast agricultural regions, and according to the 2015 report from the Department of Agriculture, Northern California, the 21 counties are in the top 5 listed counties for multiple exports, including the top right-hand corners. Now, Northern California, for the top export, walnuts at number 3 was $1.8 billion. Now, 2 of the 5 counties listed are in Northern California. 2 other exports include prunes and rice, where all 5 counties listed are in Northern California. Overall, in 2014, Northern California made over $5 billion in agriculture alone. Now, if Northern California was able to keep the profits from agriculture and business within its borders, you could see that would be on the way to prosperity. So next we have the 6 Californias Initiative. According to the 6 Californias website, accessed in April of 2016, the 6 California states were designated via multiple categories, including demographics, population, value systems, water, industries, and geography. According to major funder and founder of the 6 Californias Initiative, Tim Draper, states that we need to separate California because our education system rates as one of the lowest in the country, and we have a large portion of our population below the poverty line. An opposing article written for the Huffington Post in March of 2016 states that this is just a way of separating the rich from the poor because we no longer receive the taxes from the rich. This would create 2 very wealthy states surrounded by 4 poverty-stricken states. However, in an article written for Forbes in July of 2014 by Brown states that the 6 states would allow for, quote, governments that are smaller, more efficient, and closer to their constituents. As for our education system, California ranks as one of the costliest education programs, and yet we still rank 47th in test scores. Now, Texas, who applies no personal income tax, this is where the taxes from the rich come from, so Texas, who applies no personal income tax, still manages to hire 114 more teachers per 10,000 students and ranks 29th in test scores. As for our incarceration rate, California has one of the most expensive prison systems, and yet we still have the highest reoffending rate. This goes to show that while from the socialist agenda we should have the best education and prison systems, sometimes stealing from the rich does not feed the poor. Now that I filled up your information gas tanks, let's take a look at everything we've seen. Today I've gone over policies that have been enacted because of the urban population's powerful voting number, and I've driven us through the 2 different ideas for splitting California. Now, as you can see, if we split California, it would allow your and your neighbor's votes to count a little bit more. And for action, I would like you to step up and sign a petition. Go onto the State of Jefferson website via the Process tab, or use the 6 Californias website using the Participate tab. Then I'd like you to imagine the beauty of your voice being heard by your local government.